Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk About It Tuesday live from the OBX. Yes, the Outer Banks in North Carolina, and I'm super excited to be here with you today, speaking with two of my very best friends, Lina Clavijo and Aisha O'Malley, Dr. Aisha O'Malley. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me bring you on. Yes. Thanks for joining. This is going to be a bit of a different variety. There they are. There they are. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you for being on the show again.
Our pleasure.
I have to say that, Aisha talked about leading with empathy when you were on, and then we talked about resilience with you, Lena. And I will say that your both of yours I shared very frequently with others when I'm like working with clients and they're looking for inspiration. I often send the Talk About It Tuesday that both of you did. So I'm excited to have you back on.
Well,
We're
thank you.
excited to be on. Let me just adjust something real quick.
Okay, yeah, you work through that. Thank you all for joining. We are talking about getting naked in the OBX, which is the Outer Banks. I didn't know what OBX was until a few months ago when my husband and I decided to come down and spend some time down here. And so Aisha and Lena are are here with me. We're just in different rooms and locations for audio purposes. But I'm glad you're here to join us because, first of all, when we get together, we just
Oh,
like all
ready?
my shows.
Good time.
Oh,
It's a
all
good time.
right. Cheer! I love it. Yes, this is about vacations and good times, and we always get down to the real deal when we talk.
We do.
Yes.
Yeah. So get naked here with me, metaphorically, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, you know me.
You know we love you, but
But let's give the audience a refresher of who you are and what you want to share with everyone here today. Lena, let's start with you. Let everyone know who you are and what brings you joy.
I'm still discovering who I am. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Lina Clavijo. I am a mother of two wonderful human beings. I always say that. They're my biggest achievement, my contribution to the world. Professionally, I'm a marketer by heart and by, every day. And I am super happy to be here again and to be able to have this space to share whatever wisdom, knowledge, I have. I did learn a lot when I did my talk with you with regards to, resilience. You pushed me to ask myself a lot of questions. And one of the greatest gifts that you gave me that day is that I embraced the idea of calling resilience my superpower.
Mm.
And that is something that it was a gift from you to me because you pushed me to look at myself and why I was worthy of talking about resilience. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yay. And Dr. O'Malley?
Aisha, right? Fine, right? So Tosca and I we've been friends since high school. We played basketball together, and we've been at each other's side pretty much ever since, right? I currently teach as a professor at University of Buffalo. I teach business communication. I'm a leadership coach. I do DEI work. I'm an activist. I'm a scholar. I do a lot of stuff, but I love talking about um, emotional intelligence and empathy, right? That's the reason why, I was on the first time to talk about empathy and kind of some of the things that I've developed through resilience, right? So I can relate to you with that and how that's helped me to build this and grow this idea of empathy within myself and how I hold it for other people and providing people grace and providing myself grace. And so I'm glad to be back, talk about this stuff. I love my BFF. I love my adopted BFF, Outer Banks. We're living our best life
Yes.
because we work hard for it. So we have to take it because no one will give it to us.
Yes.
Ooh, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that. And thank you for introducing yourselves. And, I think there's a couple reasons why I wanted to do this show with you guys. Number one, this is kind of the season finale. Hard to believe, but like August is my 1 year anniversary of like doing Talk About It Tuesday. So I think I have 40 some episodes. And I wanted this to be a fun celebration of the past year, of just honoring like that it took a lot to like keep the consistency over the year and to just slide into the summer season with a lighthearted, fun, and also deep conversation with you lovely ladies, because I think we're in this really interesting time, right? Like we're kind of entering a new phase, with the pandemic. And, you know, I think I found it's really important to be able to honor and celebrate like where we are, like what we've accomplished, and not hide it and not feel shame or guilt about like where
Abs-
we are in this moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I think, Tosca, I think that, you know, everybody has been resilient in this last year, right? It's been a tough year with work, with family, with trying to stay healthy, following the guidelines, and staying sane, right?
Mm.
Without and not being able to socialize and be with friends and spend time with each other, and feed off each other with that energy. And so, I'm so glad that you offered us this opportunity to come down and talk about that space where, if you don't take the time, you don't rejuvenate. You don't, and then you don't see how far you've come,
Yeah.
right? If you think about where we were last year at this time, right? Everything was shut down, right? We were not in the same city, right? Wondering, okay, how is work going to be? Am I going to be, we're not in the office anymore. What is what is the rest of our lives going to look like with this new thing we call COVID, right? And now we're finally coming back to a sense of normalcy, right? So I think now is the perfect time to take a step back and look at and look and evaluate this past year and how we've grown as, I think, as individuals, but as friends, as mothers, and all the identities that we hold, right? How we've grown and how we've become better, because we have, right?
Yeah.
And not judging ourselves, right? Because I mean, listen, COVID poundage is real, right? And this is what I said. I said the beach gonna get whatever body I give it, okay? And we gonna live our best life still, right? So, we're still making healthy choices, but we're enjoying life.
Yeah. And I totally agree. And I think that this is a year that it's going to be a before and after for a lot of people. And there's no question that we have been resilient, that we have learned a lot of things about ourselves, our families, our children, even the way we work.
Yes.
I consider myself completely incapable of working from home. I had to learn to do it.
Yeah.
What I am looking forward is starting re-entering to earth with a beginner's mind. And what I mean by that is that, I went to a restaurant the other night and there were people sitting at the bar, and that made me happy. Like, oh, we're finally sitting back. I would have never been excited about that in my entire life. So I think that, they say that these are going to be the second roaring 20s and all of that. I think that we have to approach and be present in this moment with a beginner's mind.
Yes.
Appreciating everything that we took for granted before all of this craziness happened.
Absolutely.
So that's,
Absolutely.
I cherish the year and a half that has passed and everything, but I think I'm ready to move forward.
Absolutely.
On, that I always make the difference between moving forward and moving on. I want to move forward because I want to take with me what I learned this year. I don't want to leave it there.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm ready. I'm ready to move forward with a beginner's mind.
Yeah. I'm curious. There's so much richness in what you both said, and I'm curious. and this might be a tough question to answer in the moment, but it's like, how do you think you're different today than you were like pre-COVID? Like, what has changed for you internally? I know there's probably a lot of external things, but like, I'm just wondering, like, who you are, like, who are you today, and how is that different?
We're on vacation. Why do you have to ask such a... No,
You're
I'm
so
kidding.
funny.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I told you we were gonna have fun and we were going deep. Okay, you get both.
I can say my level of appreciation has ratcheted up for sure.
Mm,
I'm so appreciative of being able to make it through the pandemic unscathed, right? As far as my health is concerned, right? I lost some friends and I lost some family members, and it was hard. But you know, I appreciate the solitude that I had, right? I appreciate having the time to be in my own space. Remember, I bought a new home, right?
nice.
So building that home, right? Making it my own space and having time to enjoy it, right? So many times we're like, oh, we gotta work, I gotta go to the office, I gotta go run and do this and do. We couldn't go nowhere. We couldn't go a damn place. So I was able to really, I worked a lot. I worked probably a lot more than I have in a while, but that solitude and the time to reflect whenever I wanted to, I appreciate that, right? And I also appreciate my family and friends more.
I think that totally, you're completely right. I became more grateful and appreciative. I did not enjoy the solitude. I'm not a, person to be alone. So that part, I do not agree. I am happy to mingle again. In my case, and just because the circumstances, created that, my son was home for 5 months where we were in lockdown. So we had two choices: either we kill each other, or we would become closer. And what I think is, it was amazing is that he's an adult, so I didn't have to mother him. So I was able to take the opportunity to become friends with him and to, when you're raising kids, you cannot step over the line of, I'm your mother or your friend. I am your mother, but now that, he's an adult, that life is blurry, and it gave me an opportunity to know this amazing person and start counting him within my closest friends. So I think that that's one of the biggest things that I gained through this time. And Mare is connected.
Hey, Marty, listen, even continue. I need you to make me some earrings. I'm willing.
Oh, yes. Me
These
too.
are gorgeous. Gorgeous.
So, I had other opportunities with Mare to become friends as well, but we didn't talk with each other for 5 months. I was right, Mare, but I'm kidding.
Yes, score on the earrings. This was worth it just for these. Okay, this is
remember the small
done.
people when you get.
And I will say, and I will answer with you ladies too, to say that I think that I was so grateful actually that like my husband and I had started like therapy years before the pandemic, because I think that helped us like really get through some of the tough times. And I think that as an extrovert, I think that I became way more comfortable with like being with myself, than ever before. I think it did make me more comfortable with like, oh, you know what? Actually, I can find inspiration. I can fill up my cup, and it doesn't have to be because I'm around other people. And I think that was a good learning for me. And I think as a result, I am going to be so much more choiceful about who I do decide to spend my valuable time with, which I think I'm excited about.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that makes me think you and I have had this conversation before, like the hierarchy of relationships in your life. And I think that this time makes it more clear where you're going to place people in that hierarchy. You know, who are like the people that you connect at a soul
Yes.
level, the people that will be in your life just to make, to have fun times and build memories and all of that. And that people that, you have to keep on because for whatever reason, and you decide to love them at a distance. And then the toxic people that you really need to get rid of in your life.
Yes.
So I think that all of that introspection that this time fostered will be helpful in helping you place people in that hierarchy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, you know, I, yeah, I used to, and you guys both know this, I used to kind of like treat all my friends the same, and it's like, whoa, well, you can't put that kind of energy out there to everybody. And I think I've seen some research that show that people really miss the acquaintance bucket. I don't know if you guys feel that way, like the people that like you don't necessarily want to spend all this time with, but you just kind of miss like the random water cooler. You feel that way too?
Yes. I do miss, you know what? I think I also probably I also gained a level of appreciation for my colleagues, right? Because I miss the small banter or coming in the morning. My coworker Jim, hey Jim, how's it going? How was the weekend? Right? And while not like deep conversation, it's still a way to connect with the people that you see, probably more than you see your family because you're at work a lot, right? And so it's funny because we had like some Zoom work meetings. I'm like, I see your faces. Oh my gosh. And that was enough, right? And then all of a sudden that wasn't enough, right? And so then we started coming into we start seeing people, and it's so amazing now when you go out, you see people's faces. You see their smile,
Right.
and people know that I'm smiling, right? I miss that. I definitely miss
Well, I kind of liked, sticking my tongue at someone in that way.
mysterious.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, so it's interesting, right? Because now we're kind of entering into like the summer season of vacations, so like the time off, um and I'm curious about because the data is staggering in terms of how many people don't take their vacations. Like it's just staggering. And I think everybody had such very unique situations over the past year, right? Some people like work like crazy. Some people were able to back off. Like it's just kind of all over the board. Um, but I think the other thing is like it breaks my heart when I find out that people aren't taking time off and they're just going and going and going. And you ladies are very successful in your careers. Like you've just, you've done it all. And so I'm curious if it's easy for you to take time off or if that's a lesson that you've had to learn. And by time off, I mean like not like 2 or 3 days, but like I'm shutting it down. Because I think that people need to hear, right, the perspectives about like what it does for you and that it is a journey for a lot of people to like give ourselves permission.
In my case, I've always been very good at taking vacation just because of the fact that I live away from my family. And I lived away from my family for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
So I've always been good at taking vacation, but there has always been like family vacation, not necessarily Lina vacation. And that is something that I'm starting to question, what I want. Do I want Lina vacation? Do I want family vacation? Do I want a combination of both? So that is something that is changing in my mind. The other thing is that, yes, you feel the need to have vacation, but after a year like this, where the boundaries between home and work were broken, it's like when I take vacation, it's like I don't want to see my computer, I don't want to see my work phone. I'm not even curious. I'm shutting down because my cocoon, my home became my workplace, and that makes it even more healthier to have this vacation where you disconnect completely and just take the true time to recharge. I am very fortunate because I work for a company that incentivizes people taking vacation, and they're very aware of the need, and they facilitate it. And and I do have plenty of vacation days, during the year. So I'm fortunate about that. But even if you have like only 10 days vacation, you should take them, and you should take them in large chunks.
Mhm.
So your body and your mind really goes through the process of disconnecting and rebooting and being ready again.
I
So
agree.
that's,
I think what we have to understand as in American culture is that, work doesn't make you who you are, right? And you can be passionate about your work, that's fine. However, you have to separate work at some point so that you can become, when you take that time away, you're able to not think about it. And then when you come back, you're sharper, productive, you're clear-minded, clear-headed, right? And I think that we take that for granted. And another thing that I think as a culture we need to, as a whole, understand is self-care has to be a priority. And that's what vacation is. It is self-care, right? And so, yes, you have your family vacations, right? But you also self-care, right? Like, so you have to care for self and those are the times where you take, you take a long weekend, right? Or if you got the time, take a 7 days. And, you don't have to go to these big resort places. Look, I used to come down in remember PhD, I come down in New York City and I stayed in Brooklyn. I don't, you know what I mean? It was a change of scenery, right? And I realized during PhD I did need to disconnect. That was when I really learned that I have to take time away from the computer, from the phone, from the work, so that I can be more productive and learn about myself, right? I think we say self-care, we talk about vacations, but we don't know what it really means and what it looks like. It can look like whatever you need it to be so that you feel better coming back.
Oh my gosh, 100%. I feel like I talk a lot about like living life sustainably, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I remember like even this past like holiday Christmas season when I was like, okay, I'm like actually gonna like not work. And like for 2 weeks, I actually just had no desire to do anything but like stare at the fireplace. And to me, that was such an indication of like how burnt out I was, like how stressed I was. The fact that I didn't want to pick up a book for pleasure was like, oh shit, like I was going harder than I didn't even realize it. Like, and I think that's actually one of the biggest challenges is that we're so used to such a high level of stress and anxiety that we don't even know where we're at with it anymore. And that's just the norm. And that to me is just so dangerous and so scary.
Yeah.
and the
But
other thing that, that made me think is that, it doesn't have to be a fancy vacation.
right.
You don't have the budget to step into an airplane or whatever. There are ways, and there are people
Yes.
that you can go visit, and it's the change of scenery,
Yes.
and it's like living that vacation with a level of self-awareness of this is doing me so good. And I think that there are people that sometimes they don't take the vacation just because they think they cannot afford the vacation.
Right.
So I think that there are many options, obviously if you can take a luxury vacation, why not?
Yeah.
But if you can't, you can't, and then you make the best that you can with what you have,
Yes.
And I think it's different for different people,
Yeah.
and where you are, what company you work for, where, socioeconomic status, all that stuff plays into it. But the most important thing is knowing you have to take time, right? And so and sometimes you gotta be creative. Sometimes it's about being creative, right? I remember, my parents, we didn't have a lot of money, but let me tell you, we took the train from Rochester to freaking California, right? We drove to Texas in a Honda hatchback. It took 3 days, right? Like, just getting out. We found a way to get out, however you can, to get out of that environment, whatever it is you see day to day, into something new, trying something new. And when you get to a new place, trying new things, trying new foods, learning about the culture, learning about the people that are there, even if it is in the States, right? Like if we're going to Canada, we used to go to Canada a lot, right? 3 hours away, right?
Yeah.
From Rochester, 3 hours away. We stay with my aunt. That was our mini vacation, right? And it was great because I got to see different places, meet different people, learn different cultures. And so, you know, I'm not a parent, but as a parent, if you're feeling like you can't, your kids appreciate anything that they spend time with you. So however that looks, it doesn't have to be fancy, right?
Yeah.
I totally.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, growing up, we didn't have like a lot of fancy vacations. We used to drive from one city in Colombia to where my mom was from, and that was like a 10-hour drive with no air conditioning. So I'm
Girl,
disclosing
listen.
my age.
Listen.
And I remember that my father would stop halfway, and we would swim in a river and get in the car all wet.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was so hot, you know, going.
Yeah.
And that memory,
Yes.
like, it's a happy place for
It
me.
stays with you.
You know, and it wasn't any, and my mother, she would be, you know, this is very Colombian, she would boil potatoes with eggs. And that's what we would eat,
Oh,
you know.
of course.
You know,
Listen,
so
We should totally make that on this trip.
we're bringing peanut butter and jelly. We're, you know what I mean? Like, we don't do that. We just got.
Yes.
oh, you start talk outside. No, no, get to take a bus, right? Whatever. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I love that you guys are so emphatic about this because, look, I think absolutely there's a lot of privilege in taking time off. There's a lot of privilege in vacation. And also, if we're not careful, we can put obstacles in our own way saying, this isn't possible, that's not possible. So I think what I'm hearing you guys say is like, really check yourself to see if you are getting in your own way of getting what you need in terms of time off, and that what it can look like is discovering in your own backyard. It doesn't have to be, you know, anything that's, you know, glamorous, in order to get a new perspective on life and to refresh and refill yourself.
Totally.
Yeah, so sorry, it's garbage day out here. I don't know if you can hear. This is realness. This is realness in the OBX. I'm just saying. Okay, we got to keep it clean out here. So here's another thing that I wanted to talk to you ladies about. Again, because you guys have done so much in your lives. You have come from such different places from where you are right now. And in some of the coaching that I've done recently, you know, I think I just realized how little people take the time to assess their desires and their dreams, you know? And so I'm curious, how, like, have you taken time in your life? Like, is that a part of your practice in terms of saying, what do I want? What do I want? Like, even Lina, you were saying earlier, which I really appreciate the sentiment of, like, every time you traveled, it was like for family, and you're like, wait a minute, maybe there's something else that I want other than this other thing which you love, but is also kind of obligation, you know?
You know,
Or at least how I'm seeing it.
yeah, I think I am becoming better.
Mm.
I think that because I jumped into life so young. Yeah, I was married at 21. I had my first child at 25. I never took the time to really ask myself that kind of questions, you know, and then all of the responsibility comes on, and then your kids become first. And I have been a very dedicated mother, which you know, it's the greatest thing in my life. So, but that, you know, didn't allow me to take the time to ask, what do I want? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to go? You know, so I think I am becoming better at it. And just out of maybe the evolution when you age, and that the circumstances change.
Yeah.
You know, right now
Right.
I became an empty nester. It's like, it's my time to think about myself, right? I didn't have that mentality while my kids were growing up, and so I think I am becoming a little bit better about it.
I don't know. Like, I have moments where I do think about it. But I think like you, I'm getting better at finding more time to think about it. I mean, listen, I'm single. I ain't got no kids, right? And I think people think that that's all we do, right? When you don't have something to focus on, right? Like family, like a husband or a child or your children, right? Well, all you do is focus on yourself, and not really. It's easier for me to make choices of what I want to do, yes. But I think we also get in what other people want for us, where they might see us. And sometimes we get caught up on that and don't differentiate what we want, right? And we end up sometimes living for other people or living the lives of other people, right? Like, so I think, and just to go back to one of your first questions, like, what did you, how are you different? Let me tell you something. I appreciate the fact that I don't have kids. Okay. I am loving that at this age. Okay.
From amen, from a mother to
listen,
amen.
I heard my friends having with their kids. I was like, I have a cat. Type of problems, right?
Yes.
And not to say anything, negative about, but it just, that freedom allowed me to really do the things that I want to figure it out, what I wanted to do, right? And now I'm at a point of, do I dream bigger, or am I okay with what's working right now, right? And I'm not in a rush, and I'm little by little, I'm figuring it out. But I think I have my moments where I think about it, and I'm having more moments where I think about it because the world is changing, right? I mean, listen, I was just reading, the fastest growing entrepreneur population is women right now, right? And it's like, okay, so is that next for me, right? What does that mean? How does that look on me, right? Is that something I'm able and capable of doing, and do I want to do that, right? So, like Lina said, as we're coming out of this pandemic and moving forward, right? It is the time to start taking those moments and saying, okay, what do I really want? Like, I feel like we got a clean slate, right? Right?
No, totally, but
yeah, not totally, right? But in a way, right? What can I do different? Because the world is different. Things are changing. Social activism is huge right now, right? Is that something I want to be a part of? Diversity, equity, inclusion, that's huge. Do I want to be part of that? Is that part of my story? Self-love, self-care. What does that look like for me? When does that happen for me, right? And so now is the time to start exploring those new things and seeing where it takes you, right? I'm just, listen, I'm about enjoying life. I'm happy. I'm at peace. We were talking about that in the car driving down. I said, you know what, Lina, I have to say I'm happy. I'm happy. I desire more, yes, but I am extremely happy. And that's me being single with no kids. And I'm like, yo, I'm living life. I'm doing it. I'm doing it big. So we're going to continue to do that.
But I think that we feel happy with our lives because we've done the work. We have been have been working on ourselves, and we have, we have learned. And
very true.
We shared this yesterday, that happiness is just a little moment. It's how in peace can you be with your reality. So you're a single woman, no kids. I'm a single woman with kids. And we find our happiness within ourselves. And we're happy with our situation.
Right.
And with our life. I'm extremely happy with my life. I wouldn't change one thing. And I have gone through, some hell and back. And I wouldn't change a thing. because that's who I.
That's when you know you're at peace.
Exactly.
That's when you know you're at peace. When you can say, you know what, I've been through some shit, right? But I'm okay with it. I'm okay
totally
with where
okay.
I landed. I landed on my feet, and you know, I wouldn't have it any other way.
And I think that in this process that I say that I am becoming better, and you too. I think that we still have a lot of work to do with our own critics.
Absolutely.
And self-judgment.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, can I spend the money in this vacation or not?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I have become much better at saying, let's do it. I don't care. Because before I would say, oh, well, you know, maybe with that money I can buy this, or, you know, that might be responsible, or blah, blah, blah. And I think that, you know, we limit ourselves very much with our own critic and the self-judgment.
Yes.
And let's not even start talking about how we judge others.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think that, like, getting rid and detoxing from that judgment, I think it's one of the most important pillars to really be able to take care of yourself and make the choices that make you happy.
Yep.
I just love so much about what you guys both just talked about in like a million different ways. So I'm just trying to like pull it together, which is like that there's a lot of judgment and stigma out there and about what especially women, like what our lives are supposed to look like,
what we should look like,
right, what we're supposed
to be married to, how many kids we should be having,
right. And especially I think in certain cultures where the pressure is even higher for like marriage and children, and it's like, thank God I didn't have parents that were breathing down my neck about kids. I don't think I could even deal. So I think the thought that I want to leave people with on that front is like, be careful of how your conditioned thoughts are impacting other people when you speak them out loud. You know, because it can be very damaging, especially when somebody's at their own peace and you're going to sit there and say, you should be doing something else. Like,
And but you know what, too, I think, Tosca, like, along with that, I think it is about giving yourself grace and others grace. Allow people to live their lives. Okay? Like, who am I to tell you what to do with your life? I can barely keep it together my damn self, you know, right? Like,
we talked about we had a 2-hour drive. So
you had a pre-talk about it Tuesday. See, we should have just done it from the car. We'd be on the beach right now. See.
I was in a seminar that it was called Becoming a Master Communicator last week. And I was sharing with Aisha in the car that they talked about, like, you know, people are doing the best that they can with what they have. And what they have means their karmic, you know, journey, or the experiences they might have, the unresolved trauma that they can have. So the moment that you start thinking that people are doing the best that they can with what they have, then it's easier for you to resolve conflict, to accept, to understand, and you know, I wish that I get to that point because I'm just working on it. But it made me think, you know, you have the tendency to resentment and grunge and this. What if you start thinking that person is doing the best that she or he can with what he or she has?
Right. You know, I have conversations with some of my male friends, right? And, you know, talk about, oh, well, women this and, oh, well, men that, right? And I get it. And you know what we do is it's the comparison. We got to stop it, right? Like, I'm sick of being compared to other people. I am who I am. My experiences make me unique, right? And so I may not do the same thing that Lina would do in the same situation. And it's okay. You know, it's okay. I can allow her grace and she can allow me grace, right? It's just, we're so hard on everybody and ourselves. It's like, cut everybody a break sometimes, right? And don't get me wrong. There are moments when we can choose to do that and not choose to do that, right? But it's remembering we're all human beings, right? We all struggle. We all go through pain. We all go through loss. And so if you see someone or you know someone who is going through loss or having some pain or having some difficulty, instead of saying, well, why did you do that? Well, how can I help make the situation a little bit better for you?
Yes. But I would also think that we have to become better. There are people that we cannot help.
This is true. I absolutely agree
See,
with you.
because I can't help y'all, okay? So I stopped trying. No.
So we gonna just do this. A little sidebar about our hosts.
No,
Yeah.
but I think that there are sometimes that we become fixating
Yes.
to helping someone or fixing a relationship with someone.
But that's
Right.
the thing.
We have to
It's
learn to do
fixing,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a level of judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That level of judgment.
Yeah.
You think you're helping, but did they ask you to fix? Did they ask you for your advice? Sometimes they're saying, I just need a vent because I don't, I just need to get it out, right? And so it's, I don't know. I just, what? The older I get, I become like a hippie. Live and let.
Well, look, I mean, you said it earlier, and this is the other, another thing that I wanted to highlight. What?
She's behind. Like, look, like.
Oh yeah, get with the program. No, there's no forced drinking here, water or otherwise. I'm just saying.
She knows I don't need a lot of encouragement.
But what I was going to say is, very recently, I had a woman say to me, "Oh well, Latinas, we don't believe in therapy," and like it broke my heart because I know that in communities of color that is a very strong sentiment. And you guys talked about how important your inner work, doing the work on yourself, has been to get you to this point of peace and comfort.
And in my case, so Tosca, I've done therapy. I've done, like spiritual readings. I've done coaching. I think that whatever tool that you can put in your toolbox is worth it.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Yep.
Whether it is like energy healing and working with your chakras and learning to meditate and all of that, or just going to a psychologist or, hiring a coach, is like, you should be humble enough to open up and look for the help that is good for you.
I'm curious your perspectives on and I'm not asking you to speak for a group of people, just your perspectives, your life experience about did you experience, was it taboo for you to get support, for you to reach out, whether it's therapy or other modalities? Was that something that you had to bust through for yourself, or was it part of your family culture to that was something that was encouraged?
Because I have Caribbean culture, right? And I have, people assume that I'm American, right? So that's an experience for me. And in both communities, therapy, that, it's not a thing, right? Suck it up. We ain't got time for this. You just got to, you got to power through, right? And it's not just culture, it's like class too, right? Your socioeconomic status, we don't have time. I don't have the access. I don't have the money to be trying to find a therapist that might be able to help me, right? And so there's a real issue of access, yes, right? But I think that, especially when I think about me and my friends and in my circle, we've definitely pushed past the taboo. We've realized the benefits of therapy and finding some level of healing on whatever that looks like for you. And I think it shows in the way, if we look at the different statistics with women and how, we were talking about women are entrepreneurs now, right? A lot of them are picking that up. People are leaving their companies on, listen, if you're not being empathetic, if there's no empathetic environment, I don't have to work here. And that's the actual thing. I'm going to tell you, statistics are millennials, 78% of them will leave if their environment is not empathetic, right? Their work environment is not empathetic. It's 72% for Gen X, that's us, right? And boomers, it's 66%. So, it's the high percentages of people are listen, change is necessary. I need to be able to cope and manage well. And my environment is part of that. And so I think that more and more people now are starting to see the benefits of it, and the access is becoming a little bit easier.
Yeah. You know, I grew up my parents were wonderful and the best parents I could have ever wished for, but they didn't know how to talk about feelings.
Yes.
None of them, nor my mother, nor my dad. So I grew up in an environment where we didn't talk about feelings. And I grew up with my therapy was la chancleta. You know, the flip flop, the Latin American mom that throws the chancleta at you. And, you know, if I was crying, I would be like, do you want me to give you a reason to cry?
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in that.
I feel like you and my mom. Like,
yeah, you might be. I did training, you know, growing up about talking about my feelings or, you know, it actually I became a master, you know, putting everything under the rug.
Yeah.
Because I was expected to be strong, to bounce back.
Yes.
To, you know, then life, you know, goes on, and I started being open to therapy, spiritual guidance, all of that. But my biggest taboo was medication. And I went through the experience with my daughter where I declared war on medication just because I didn't understand medication. And it was a complete taboo for me. I think that back then it could have been a sign of weakness, of not knowing how to deal with and a lot of fear coming from my reptilian brain that I needed to protect my child from becoming an addict. So I think that those were the things engraved in my brain, and that was the taboo that I had to break. And not only now I am okay with it, I take medication because I've learned, the benefits of it and how it helps me with my anxiety. And, both my kids have had experiences with medication, and I now understand it from a very, very different perspective.
Absolutely.
But that is the biggest taboo I had to break.
I had that taboo too, right? After transplant, they just put you on it, right? And I remember like being very, hi, oh my gosh, right? And it was like this, and in my mind, you know me, right? I'm a little more laid back than that. And me, I'm like, this is not me. I need to shut up, right? Like, and that's like my real brain in the back, right? And so that was in 2004, and I never went back on it. And my doctors used to, they were saying, Aisha, you sure you don't want to get back? No, I don't want to. Why do you think I need to, right? Like, why you keep pushing this, right? And then it wasn't until, again, in my PhD program where I hit a wall. I was there, Tosca. I hit that wall in a 150-mile-an-hour car. And it was through friendship and support and to help me get through that time. And so, what we got to understand is there's resources. There are things out here to help us. And so it doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you've realized that the coping mechanisms that you've used since childhood is not effective anymore as an adult. And so you have to learn and find those resources that can be more effective for you, right? Absolutely. I think, in the Latina culture and the Caribbean, Jamaican culture, African-American culture, I think I definitely see some things changing as long as like in my friend circle, but we're more educated as well. Right. We all have a college degree. Most of my friends have masters. Some of them have PhDs. We understand the science behind it. Right. That allows us to say, you know what, this is something that might be able to help me. And it's an option now. So, again, self-care.
Yeah. Self-care.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you just made me think of how valuable these friendships are. Like the feminine divine that we share, and the ability to really have these conversations every time we get together, and even when we're not together, and the benefit of having these women around you to support you, to listen to you,
and I'll just put a disclaimer. Understand that your friends are not trained therapists.
Yes.
Right. So while I am a PhD, I'm not that doctor. I can help you as a friend, but I'm
I'll
not.
put the disclaimer in the notes, like, oh, by the way, Aisha is not a therapist.
But you know,
Yeah,
when Aisha was talking about like your circle of
yeah,
Yes.
support,
Yes.
you know, you have a pool of friends in
yeah,
close to you that might be invaluable when
Yes.
you're going through these kind of
yes,
or experiences.
yes,
And sometimes, as you said before, we don't need fixing, we need
yes.
venting, and we need to
Mm,
understand and let it out. But all of the sudden, this other person makes a comment or shares
right.
a personal experience, and then you have an aha moment.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm,
I never thought about this
Right.
this way, or you know. So it I think that this and giving us the opportunity to have these conversations and being vulnerable and being naked,
Yes.
you know,
Yep.
figuratively, because
Yep.
we're dressed. Uh, I think it's very healthy
oh
Absolutely.
my gosh.
and
Yeah. And what?
a
And a
blessing.
blessing. Yeah.
Mm. I'm so glad it's just such a natural segue because
Okay. Hi,
I know
Shige.
Shige is like, what is going on? I know. Shige, like part of the trifecta here for sure. You are with us
We
in
miss you, Shige.
spirit. It's okay. It was recorded, Shige. You go back, you listen to the words of wisdom of these two beautiful women, and you'll never be the same.
Shige is also part of our support system.
Yes.
We love Shige. Shige gives us a different perspective being over there on the other side of the pond.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Well, and and what's interesting, actually, we segued into kind of community and support and divine feminine, and Shige was also a guest on Talk About It Tuesday, and she talked
Yeah.
about community. And I had this like aha moment. Like there's a part of me that just feels like, oh, everybody has this, right? Everybody finds their tribe. And I was having this conversation with a woman that was just like, I've never really had that, like a sister circle. And I think some of that comes from trauma. I think some of that comes from, right, like not ever having experienced being able to trust another woman, which is just so sad to me. And I think that COVID allowed a lot of people to come together that maybe would not have done that.
You know what's funny is during COVID, I'm in a sorority, and that's one of the reasons why I joined the sorority is because I didn't have any. I had a brother, right? I didn't have sisters, right? And so I felt very comfortable with my sorority, and we started during the pandemic. We started a WhatsApp group,
Mm,
and we do Zoom calls on every Saturday. And people would pop in and pop out, pop in and pop out. We have different. We talk about makeup. We talk about food. We did a whole bunch of stuff, and we reconnected, right,
mm,
as a sisterhood, right? And so you gotta make time for this.
mm,
This is work. Remember, you're saying the work. This is work, right? Having friendships, of people that are from different cultures, different backgrounds, and being able to be vulnerable and open with them, right?
yes.
And open-minded and listening to their experiences, and that gives you that aha moment and say, oh my gosh, like, you know, I'm Caribbean, but you don't see that in me, right? You might think I'm African American, and people assume that I joined the African American sorority, but I did.
Mm,
I joined a Latina and African American based sorority, right? And I fit right in, and it's because of my Caribbean background,
mm,
right? And so it is a force. And we were actually talking about this with your daughter, finding community in Boston,
Yeah.
right?
mm,
If you don't if you don't have like if you didn't go to college, you may not be able to have these experiences, right? One, if you are in a community which is very small, you
mm,
you know that you don't get out of that community, you don't have that opportunity, right, to meet different people and create a bigger circle, right? And so we have to, as a society, as a larger community, be able to offer those opportunities to other women,
mm,
that are in our circles at work, little sisters, nieces, nephews. We just got to be able
mm,
to build that and show them this, right?
mm,
Show them that, yeah, I'm going, good, listen, I'm going on vacation with my homegirls. And it's just
mm.
us three, right? We leaving the hubbies at home, hint, hint, Ryan. Uh, but it's getting
He's
back
a
to
good
you.
addition.
He is. He's part of the sisterhood, guys.
Yeah.
He totally is part of
He's
the sisterhood.
But I think that part of the work, and I'm still very green in this, is um, learning to set your boundaries.
Mm.
Because the same way that you have this divine feminine energy,
Mhm.
you have the divine feminine toxicity.
Yeah. It can go.
We can be very hard on each other.
Yes.
You know, sometimes women can be the worst enemy of women. So I think that part of the work is also being able to set that boundaries and being able to read with whom you can be vulnerable.
Yes.
And with
Yes.
you just
Who is your
socialize.
support? Yeah. Who is your support system?
Because
Yes.
that vulnerability is humbleness,
Mm.
and
It's sacred too.
it's sacred, and it builds trust.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
You have to give it that vulnerability. You have to give it to people that are really going to
Worth
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and yes. Oh my gosh. I can't believe we have like 4 minutes left. I'm like, oh my God, no, we have to, we need a part 2.
Well, but you're spending a week together.
Oh, I know, but for the people, this is for the people. I'm just like, yes, like this message needs to get out there.
This is the season finale, and so season finales sometimes go for longer.
A part two next Tuesday. Yeah. Well, so what I want to pull from that is what it makes me think of is we're in this age and this time where we are sharing our stories, and I mean we as in women, right? The women that have been written out of history, the women that we don't share things because of the judgment, because of all the patriarchy, toxicity, all that stuff, and because of that, I think it becomes hard to know who you can trust. And I had an experience in my life where I went through something, and because of a conversation I had with a friend of mine, I knew where she stood on a topic, and I knew I could trust her with my truth and what I was going through. And I think about that time, and I think about if that never came up, if I didn't know how she felt, I may not have ever had the support I needed in that moment because I wouldn't have known who to go to. So I say this to say I just so appreciate you sharing your stories and you sharing your experiences, because I think that people need to hear it so that we know we can be there for each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And you were saying you don't know what people are going through. You don't. You see me on the street. You don't know. My mother could have died. My father. You know what I mean? You just don't know.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to offer. Be kind to people. I just think that's be kind to people.
And I think that the other learning there is that the way people behave with you is more a reflection of who they are.
Yes.
And what they're going through. That about you.
Yes. They project.
So it's not that you don't take responsibility for whatever you do, but you have to also detach from taking it personal.
Yes.
And understanding that behavior might come from what they are going through and not necessarily a reflection of you.
Yes.
Exactly. And the more self-care and self-work you do, the more confident you are in who you are. And those things will not affect you as much. It takes time though.
No, it takes that, but you know what? It makes it easier to detach with love.
Yes.
From that person that it's difficult for you to understand or so it makes it easier to detach from that with true love in your heart.
Yes.
Without resentment.
Yeah, without being bitter.
It's like let it go.
Yes.
And be in peace with it.
Right.
And let that person go with love.
And you're in that is you're providing them grace.
Yeah. And I am working very hard on that right now.
Hey. Aren't we all?
It's a big lesson, and it takes that toxicity out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And so then you're closer to peacefulness that we're talking about, being at peace with your decisions and what you've done and who you are and where you are. Right. It is listen, y'all, this is the best feeling ever. Being at peace with who you are, where you are, and in the moment. My God, we take it for granted.
And don't wait until you're 50. Work on it before.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to know how to get to that place, reach out to these two lovely ladies. No, but in all seriousness, as we, yeah, I just love what you're sharing, and it's just like people just replay this over and over again if you really want to hear some words of wisdom about how to live your best life. And I'm really big on intention setting. And I am curious, in one word, what is your intention for our girl time together in this next week, since we're just at the beginning of it?
The girls just want to have fun.
Girls, I said fun. I was thinking about fun. I was like, yes, fun. That is the word. I'm gonna
Yes.
have some
Fun and love.
Yeah, fun and love.
Lots of love and laughs.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. And I'm in that same camp actually. I think one of the big themes for me right now is like getting in touch with my inner child. That
Let's
just
do it. Let's
my
do it.
fun loving, right? Like so and we have a request.
And we're
doing the dunes.
Yeah.
And we're doing the horses. By the way.
Okay, horses and dunes. Okay.
Yep.
You know where to find us in the OBX on horses and on and the dunes. Now Shige has a request, and Lina, you can choose if you want to. It says she wants the serenity prayer at the end.
You mean the universal serenity prayer she's talking about?
I don't know what she's talking. Maybe something we did when we were
Are you
together.
talking about?
Is that the courage to change the things?
Yeah,
Is it that what is that the serenity prayer?
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
There you go.
All right then. There you have it. Wow, and you knew it like it's right on top.
But honestly, it's something I say quite often to myself.
That's a good one. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, ladies, I'm excited to have fun with you. Maybe you'll come on the Feisty on Friday. Maybe that will be our part 2. Feisty and fabulous. I'm adding the fabulous for the summer season on Friday.
I love it. I love it.
We're here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, oh my God, thank you again for helping me end the season and talk about a Tuesday. And I will see you, ladies, in 30 seconds, and we shall cheers.
Ching ching.
Ching ching. Love you all. Thank you all for showing up live and in the replay. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your summer and stay in touch. And to learn more about me, you can find me at toscadimateo.com. Love you, Shige. See you soon. Let's FaceTime. All right. Ciao for now.